Here it is, it just came in. Albert, his delivery service, just dropped it off. Super stoked. Look at that. It's a seafoam green color. We'll have to check it out in the daylight. But right now we're gonna throw this in the garage just to protect it, and then we'll end up taking it out. Hey folks, in this video, we're gonna be testing out the Lightning Kick 106. We're gonna also be eventually customizing this and possibly motorize it and put like tons of cool stuff and accessories on it. But first, we gotta test it out because we gotta make sure that it's worthy of having all these accessories on it. So you might notice a little bit of things have changed in my backyard here. That's right, I actually have a dock, a boat lift, and well, I actually had this boat already, but we now have our boat in our backyard. Our boat used to be over on a lift over there. But one of the really cool things that we incorporated into our backyard was this. That's right, folks. We got the new underwater fish light. What this is gonna do is this is gonna allow me to basically have a backyard aquarium. So I'm on a canal, as you can see here. Fish come and go as they please, but I kind of want them to stick around my backyard. And that's what this does. So when the lights turn on, or should I say, when the sun turns off, this little sensor turns the unit on and it kicks lights on that are down below here in the water. And what that does is it sets off a chain of events. The whole food chain ends up coming into my backyard. And that's what I can't wait for. It's so exciting. So if you guys are interested and you guys have a dock, or actually if you even have a boat, you guys can actually get one of these underwater fish lights. They make 12-volt versions, and they also make some that plug into outlets like this one. You can find all that information in the video description down below. So this is the Kick 106 by Lightning Kayaks. Let's go in and take a closer look. We have a 10'6" hull. This thing comes in at 33 inches wide. In the front here, we're gonna do a bow to stern walkthrough of the features. We have kind of a tri-hull design for the hull shape with kind of a little bit of a bulbous nose. Here we have a front deck like cover, and there is no hatch in the front, which means if you're going through waves, you're not gonna have to worry about waves putting water into the front hull through the hatch like some other kayaks. So you can simply have a dry bag, put some of your gear under there, and it's easily accessible. Any of the waves that come over the bow are gonna run and channel through here and run right down into the drive well, so they easily drain. It has a pretty dry deck. It also has these large scuppers that are here, and then there's another two that are under the seat. You have track mounts on each side. You can mount your fish finder on here or extra rod holders. Right now I just have a paddle keeper, and I have a Railblaza a port so I can have my camera mount there. This is the Mirage drive type setup, which is something that you would recognize from a Hobie kayak, but Hobie's patent expired, allowing other companies to basically create some other cost-effective pedal drives. So this is the fin style drive. They call it the Freedom drive. We all know it as it's basically a Hobie style pedal drive. Hobie was the one that came out with this. Their patent expired, other companies used it. We're not gonna pretend that it's not, you know, and that's what it is. It's effective and it works well, especially in shallow water, because the fins can stay on the underside of the hull. And we'll flip this thing over and you can kind of see that this kayak has a recessed area where the fins are. So you can actually run this basically as zero draft. You can just lightly flutter your fins and your fins will stay recessed in the hull. Looking right here, we have the rudder deployment, so we can actually pop it out of the cleat and the rudder will drop down. That is another important feature, because if we look underside of the kayak, you can see that the rudder is recessed. That's nice because then our fishing line won't get caught on it. You can run your fishing line all around the perimeter of this kayak and you don't have to worry about getting any snags with your line on the rudder. Here is a look at the rudder control steering setup. So you simply turn that to be able to steer. You have your nice comfortable seat. The fabric on the seat feels very thick and comfortable with some stitched in padding right here and here. I don't see a high and low seating position. It's kind of just where it is, but that is high enough that you could tuck some plano tackle boxes underneath if you wanted. We do have 2 flush mount rod holders. Also, you'll notice that they have the track mounts up there in the front. You can track mount your fish sonar, and you actually have a spot right here that your transducer cable can go down to. And then on the underside of the kayak, that is your transducer cover. So you undo that and you can put your transducer through there and it will be protected. You got some track mounts here. You got in-haul access. This is not a hatch that you will use often, but when you need to do any rigging or adjustment of your rudder lines, you can use this hatch here to get inside access to the back of the kayak. And that's very useful because we might end up actually taking this handle off and put a plate on here and have a motor mount. So we'll be utilizing this hatch here to be able to reach in there and hook up our fasteners. So this kayak is ready to rig, and I love the price point at around $15.99. I think it's a great price point. I love the color scheme on it. They use really good quality materials. This deck matting is actually marine mat, so they didn't cheap out. They actually use a really good reputable company to make their marine mat. And yeah, that is a look at it. We're gonna get it out on the water and we're gonna see what it can do. So I will say, standing up, it is a little bit lower seating position, so it's a little bit harder to stand up, but once you're standing up, the stability is pretty dang good.
What does I do for you guys on YouTube? Okay, we're just gonna lean. We're gonna lean. Ooh. We're standing on one gunnel side. Woo!
So this kayak really performed well in this test. Here I'm leaving the kayak upside down and I'm climbing on it. I really want to see how much water gets inside the hull of the kayak. When I have tested Hobie Outback and Hobie Pro Angler kayaks, they have gotten gallons of water inside the hull when I've done this test. But the Kick 106 only got about 4 cups of water in the hull.
This thing has excellent stability for a 10-foot 6 kayak. It seems very, very stable under my feet. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and I'm kind of pushing it beyond what I would normally do. Whoa, see you there. Peekaboo. You find any treasure? No treasure yet? Cruising on the Kick 106. Cruising on the Kick 106. Woo! Yeah! This thing is a blast. I love this kayak. Hey,